let's look at some more factoring with the AC method, this time with some greatest common factors. Let's factor the expression 40x squared plus 34x plus 6. The first thing you always want to check for is a greatest common factor other than 1. So we need to find the greatest common factor of 40x squared, 34x, and 6. The greatest common factor of these terms is 2. So we can factor out a 2. Once we factor out 2, we're left with 40x squared divided by 2 is 20x squared, plus 34x divided by 2 is 17x, plus 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now we can identify our a, b's, and c's. So here we have a is equal to 20, which is a lot different from that a is equal to 1 that we're used to. We have b is equal to 17, and c is equal to 3 for this inside polynomial. When you have a is equal to something other than 1, we need to do a little more work when we try to split that b term. So when we set up our sum and product puzzle, we have to find numbers that add to b and multiply to, instead of just c, they multiply to a times c. That's why this is called the AC method. So here, AC is equal to 20 times 3, which is 60. So for our sum and product puzzle, we need to find numbers that add to b, which is 17, and multiply to AC, which is 60. So we'll list the different factor pairs for 60. So that could be 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, or 6 and 10. And then we need to choose the factor pair that adds to 17, which is 5 and 12. So 5 times 12 is equal to 60, and 5 plus 12 is equal to 17. And these will be the coefficients of our split b term. So we have 2 times the quantity of 20x squared plus 5x plus 12x, so that's my split b term, plus 3. And then we can factor by grouping. So we have 2 times the quantity, and I'm going to change this to brackets so it's a little easier to see my groups. 20x squared plus 5x plus 12x plus 3. Then I can factor the greatest common factor from each group. So I have, and I'm going to stop writing my 2 in purple, so 2 times the quantity. Well, the greatest common factor between 20x squared and 5x is 5x. Then 20x squared divided by 5x is 4x, and 5x divided by 5x is 1. The greatest common factor between 12x and 3 is 3. 12x divided by 3 is 4x, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then I can factor the greatest common factor between these two terms, which is that 4x plus 1. So I have that this is equal to 2, don't forget your greatest common factor from the beginning, times 4x plus 1 times, well, when I factor out that 4x plus 1, I'm left with this 5x plus 3. And that is the completely factored form of my original expression. Let's factor the expression negative 12x squared minus 44x minus 40. The first thing we always check for is a greatest common factor. So we're finding the greatest common factor between negative 12x squared, negative 44x, and negative 40. The greatest common factor is negative 4. So we'll factor out a negative 4 from this expression. Negative 12x squared divided by negative 4 is positive 3x squared. Negative 44 divided by negative 4 gives us plus 11x. And then negative 40 divided by negative 4 gives us a positive 10. Now we can use the AC method. So we'll identify A, which is 3, B, which is 11, and C, which is 10. And we need to find numbers that add to B, which is 11, and multiply to AC, which is equal to 3 times 10, which is 30. We'll start by listing factor pairs for 30. So we could have 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, or 5 and 6. And we need to choose the pair of factors that adds to 11. So that's 5 and 6. And these will be the coefficients we use to split up that positive 11x. So we have negative 4, don't forget your greatest common factor, times 3x squared plus 5x plus 6x plus 10. And now we can factor by grouping. So we have negative 4, and now I'm changing to brackets so my groups are easier to see, times my first group is 3x squared plus 5x, and my second group is 6x plus 10. So I have negative 4 times the greatest common factor between 3x squared and 5x is x. So I have x times 3x plus 5 remains there, plus the greatest common factor between 6x and 10 is 2, and I'm left with 3x plus 5 in that group. The common factor between my two groups is this 3x plus 5, so I have negative 4 times the quantity 3x plus 5, and then I'm left with x plus 2 when I factor out that 3x plus 5. So the final factored form of my expression is negative 4 times 3x plus 5 times x plus 2.